Hey guys, it's an older, gruffer, more facially hairy Comics Kid 2099 here to talk to you guys about an episode of an animated superhero television show. Specifically, I'm here to talk about the two-part Season 2 premiere of the Legion of Superheroes cartoon, The Man from the Edge of Tomorrow. So without further ado, I'm gonna quickly sum up what happened in this episode, so if you're squeamish about spoilers, you are forewarned. We open an unspecified amount of time after the events of Season 1. A clone of Superman from the 41st century enlists some of the Legion members for help in defeating an evil alien warlord called Imperiex. The Legion goes with him to the 41st century. Imperiex makes off with the time machine and escapes back to the 31st century. They follow him as the 41st century disappears thanks to changes Imperiex made to the timeline. During their escape, 1/3 of Triplicate Girl dies. They make it back. Basically, all of the bad guys the Legion of Superheroes fought in Season 1 are working together and have destroyed most of Metropolis. We spend the bulk of the second half of this two-parter with the Legion fighting these guys and then arguing with the Superman clone about whether they should go after Imperiex or rescue the trapped Legion members on Takron Galtos and then go after Imperiex. The Legionnaires go to Takron Galtos, they are almost defeated, then the Superman clone saves the day. Then Imperiex joins forces with the Dominion. Bum bum bum. Cue credits. Okay, so first things first. Superman's clone is the absolute worst. This guy is a jerk, and that is his single defining character trait. I get that this is a series with installments that come in 22-minute increments, and so we don't have a whole lot of time to explore the inner workings of any character. But this guy gets the most screen time out of all of our characters in this two-parter, with Brainiac 5 and Duo Damsel coming in with a close second. So I would expect the show to give us a little bit more than, well, he scowls. A lot. We do get a couple of blink and you miss it scenes where it looks like this guy wishes he had a real family, as every time the Legion hugs and is caring for one another, we see the guy looking forlorn in the distance. Maybe I will feel differently by the end of this season, but right now I am not digging this guy. And yeah, I get it. He's from a dystopic future and all he has ever known is warfare. That doesn't make him more likable though. If you remember in my review of the first episode of Season 1, I complained a great deal about the use of time travel. If the Legion has a time machine, then why aren't they using it every time the stakes are high? Like at the end of Season 1, we sure could have used a time machine to go back a day and prevent the Sun Eater from escaping so that Pharaoh Lad doesn't die, right? Well, we've got a similar predicament here. The Legion has a time machine, so does Superman's clone. They go to the 41st century to find that Imperiex has pretty much taken over the world. So at this point, instead of going after Imperiex at this point in time, why not go back in time a few weeks and stop him from getting a hold of this world in the first place? Sure, you're messing with the time stream, but you're doing that anyway by going forward and backward in time. It just seems to me that the writers want to make use of the plot device of a time machine without actually thinking about the logical way that such a plot device would be used. And speaking of time travel, let's talk a little bit about how, when Imperiex escaped to the 31st century, the 41st century starts to get covered in these energy bubbles. We are told that if anything touches these bubbles, it dies. Okay, one, how does Brainy know this? Has he had experience dealing with these things before? If so, when? We've seen that the Legion has no problem recruiting a superhero from 1,000 years in the past to help them on missions, and Superboy/Superman had plenty of knowledge of the future when he came back to his home time period. Why didn't the 31st century do this red energy bubble thing when Superboy/Superman went back home at the end of Season 1? I get what is going on here narratively speaking. We want to transform Triplicate Girl into Duo Damsel like what happened in the comics at one point. And we also want a reason why Superman's clone cannot return to his home time period. But it's pretty sloppy in the way it gets us from point A to point B on those elements. And I didn't like how Superman's clone spends literally the entire second half of this two-parter arguing about priorities. Rescue the Legion members trapped on Takron Galtos or go fight Imperiex now. What's so frustrating about this is that nobody seems to think that it is tactically wise to have more people with them when they go after Imperiex. It wouldn't have even taken them that long, but they argue for like hours when they could have gone and rescued their allies, fought off the villains who had their allies trapped, and with many more Legionnaires fighting, this wouldn't have been that hard, and then go after Imperiex. No big, right? Too bad we have to have conflict, and for this particular conflict to happen, characters like Superman's clone have to be idiots. Another thing I wanted to discuss is not really a complaint per se, but it's something I wish this episode had addressed. This series spent roughly 3 episodes setting up Bouncing Boy as the leader of the team last season. I know that this season is an undetermined period of time in the future, so it's possible that Bouncing Boy was the leader for, I don't know, a year, and then someone else took over. But who? We don't really get a clear idea of who's calling the shots here. Is it Brainiac 5 or Lightning Man? I don't mind if Bouncing Boy isn't the leader anymore, but at least tell me who is the leader. So those are some of the things I did not care for very much, but I actually did enjoy the beginning of this season more or less. I like that the stakes feel very real. Already this season feels like it could be truly dangerous for our heroes, and that's a plus. Very, very rarely did I feel like the Legion had anything to worry about in the first season. Let's just hope that this season doesn't try to ignore that there's a very serious threat in the form of Imperiex and go into standalone episodes that have nothing to do with Imperiex. I have a vague idea of what's coming for this season, but still I feel like that is a possibility. I hope it's not, but we'll see. Also, since we are talking about things that I like, for the first time I was not annoyed by Phantom Girl, and I felt like we got some very great character development for Duo Damsel as well. Both of these two were minor players in Season 1 and never got to do very much. Triplicate Girl more than Phantom Girl, but it's great that we are getting to see them developed a little bit. Also, I love that Superman is basically mentioning his partnership with Batman, but sadly this show doesn't actually mention Batman by name. Still, I did not expect that, and I thought it was a nice touch when Superman is speaking with his clone. Overall, this is a pretty great start to this season, and I'm really looking forward to see what else this show has to offer. And that is about all I had to say on this episode. What did you guys think of the episode and of my review? If you enjoyed my review, I encourage you to like, share, comment, and subscribe. If you like this kind of video, I always do this sort of thing on Saturdays. Next Saturday, I will be talking about the 2-part Batman the Animated Series episode Feet of Clay, and the following weekend, I'll be talking about the next episode of the Legion of Superheroes. And throughout the week, I've got videos and such in store for you guys. Hope you'll come check them out. Until then, have a great day.